Hi everyone, this is your astrologer Hassan Jaffer doing the analysis of Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. There are many political pundits, and on CNN also they've had all kinds of speculation, but we wanted to get some insight astrologically, which I think is one of the best insights actually, probably because astrology is a great tool for this. You can go to my site astrocycles.net. Now, I have kept everything right from the beginning because we had no date of birth or anything, and we started with just the initial takeoff, just a chart. It's called Horary Astrology, to see what was happening in the sky. So here's a chart at the time of takeoff at 12:41 a.m. in Kuala Lumpur, and the sign of Sagittarius, the sign of philosophy in foreign countries and foreign lands and travel and faith and religion, etc. So that's starting. I mean, we don't know if that's the motivation, but it's a good sign actually for the flying, etc. Now there are a lot of connotations of Scorpio Sagittarius. You have in the 12th house, you have Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio is an aspect of life and death. That's the only part that shows up. And then you have Saturn in the sign of Scorpio there. But the main thing was Mercury being the sign of Aquarius, sign of communication, of satellite antennas and transponders and cell phones. All of that being squared by Saturn. This is a major aspect of communication problems. And so the Mercury-Saturn as a general aspect, and even the media, we've had all kinds of false news and speculations, etc. And a lot of the information has not been able to corroborate properly, actually. And so any difficulties in communication and delays in communication is Mercury-Saturn, that they were not able to communicate, or the patches were not able to, or they were cut off, the Wi-Fi was cut off. Any of these things, that's a Mercury-Saturn aspect. That's the only difficult aspect that shows up. There's no physical danger that shows up in the plane itself. So in other words, it had to be done man-made. So Scorpio is the life test situation, the 12th house along with Sagittarius. The rulers itself are Jupiter and Pluto. Both are opposed to each other. Jupiter itself is in the 8th house of Scorpio. So again, it keeps on going back and forth. Of course, Jupiter in the 8th house, all the settlements and insurance and people will be paid up, for example, is actually sort of a positive aspect for them. But unfortunately, somebody has to die for it. It's like the number 8. People think it's a very lucky number, but it's like an inheritance. So the Jupiter, now I had said about the Leo theme, there's a royal connotation. And now we know that, first of all, we found that when Moon is in Leo, that the captain's last name is Shah, which means the king in Persian. So here's that Leo connotation. It's part of the 8th house, Cancer, Leo. Again, the Scorpio house, the life death situations, and here's the pilot. So there is some connotation to it. With that Sagittarius rising, the ruler itself being in the 8th house and opposed to Pluto, again, all political or events which are beyond your control. Also, Jupiter being squared to Uranus gives a sense of restlessness. You just want to give up everything and go, that you're just fed up. Now, how it interacts with the pilot's chart and all that, I'll deal with it a little later on. Because right now we're just seeing the sky, what's happening. So now Pisces is part of the 4th house here. 4th house indicates your home and family. And Pisces is a sign of the ocean, the water. Whether it actually landed on the water or somehow it's in the ocean, for example, that's a very strong element. Sun in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and Pisces at the very bottom of the chart. Neptune very soon after that went to the 3rd house, which is miscommunications, and then Uranus went there. Uranus can sometimes indicate a little fire or electrical problems, but I don't think it has that bearing. So now here's the captain's chart. He was a Leo with Mercury in the sign of Cancer, very, very capable, and in opposition to Saturn. The Mercury-Saturn gives a lot of authority, but very cautious nature and a deliberate way of doing things, and everything very well planned, not just on a whim or anything, but very capable under stress. The Mercury Moon gives very understanding also, and he gave a lot of self-help instructions on YouTube for people, but a lot of things self-made. Now he had Mars in a sign of Virgo, so normally quite health conscious actually. But he was getting a Mars-Saturn square by transit for about a week to 10 days. He was right in the middle of it. So Mars being within 2 degrees to a square to Saturn, that's a major accident configuration. Now Mars is also a sign of Aries, the co-pilot. Although the charts compared quite well, but it was possible. Normally Mars-Saturn indicates somebody in authority, but also usually older. And also it was squaring Mercury, which makes people talk loud or shouting or arguments. And so the Mars-Mercury indicates a forceful aspect. The Mars-Saturn is a frustration aspect. Quite often in heart attacks and strokes, we often find that too. It's a frustration, it leads to it. But it's only a weak aspect, so I don't think it's the health aspect. But somehow I feel that the captain was incapacitated. And unless he was part of it, which I doubt actually, he has deep faith. He has that Mercury in Cancer. Once he decides to do something, he definitely does it. It's not a wishy-washy type of person at all. But it's very capable, and I don't think he would have put the life of all the passengers in jeopardy like that at all. Now, the co-pilot, first officer, his chart is totally different. He's got Mercury in the sign of Pisces, along with Venus in Pisces, extremely romantic nature, very much like Casanova, not Don Juan, extremely idealistic and romantic. Plus, Neptune was touching off Venus, the major sign of sorrow. Also, when you're too idealistic about the relationship, these people quite often, they are definitely capable of having an affair and all. And even though he's an Aries, but he has these Pisces planets, very good voice, soft, spoken probably, and comfortable sadness to his voice. Celine Dion was born with that. Gugush was born with that of Iran. And so many singers, Geely, the opera singer, was born with Mercury, Venus also, and Mercury in the sign of Pisces. But it also gives a sense of mission in a person's life, and a sense of sacrifice. Now, Saturn was opposing his Mars for the entire year. So for the captain, it's only 1 week to 10 days maximum for the conflict with authority or anger and frustration. But the co-pilot's chart shows for the entire year, and it already started from January. So there was some definite tension happening, whether he was not happy or something, but also he was had a lot of empathy for the poor, for the needy, for the plight of the people. So if there was something like that, it was more the co-pilot rather than the pilot, I would think. And because of the Piscean theme, and the Saturn-Mars definitely indicates being in danger, or, and I think if something happened to the pilot, I do not think that the co-pilot would have been able to handle the plane. Would have normally, but under duress, even though he had very good reflexes. It's like playing video games. He must have been very good in reflex with all those Piscean. It's the mutable sign, what we call, very adaptable, very changeable, and but not really a mind of your own. It's not an executive, administrative type placement. It's more when you believe in, they almost tend to distort the truth in order to appreciate it. And Roberts and, the evangelist also, he was also born with this aspect. So they say things which have a very emotional element about them. But it's the Saturn-Mars aspect and the wrong aspect of it. Now, Pluto was touching off as Mercury when you're close to truth. However, so again, it leads to that mission. So again, Osama was born with the same aspect, Mercury in Pisces, and he gave up billions for this aspect. So you never know. If there was some aspect, I would look at his chart. Now, the last 6 months, he would have been going some major aspects. Also, you can see more of that on astrocycles.net, and I'll keep you updated on that.